So today we're going to talk a little about why marriage was not designed to be Build-A-Bear work. I was going to say a few, but quite a bit of years back, there was a song called Don't Pick on the Things I Do, the Things I Say, and on with this song. And the premise of the song is love me for me or kick rocks for the most part. Women, we have a bad habit of trying to make a man whole. Whoever he is who he is. And either you love who he is or you don't. But the only person that can build him over is the Most High. And the Most High has given us free will. So in essence, the only person who could really make himself over with the guidance of the Most High is himself. So we have to get out of the habit of selecting men based on their criteria if we can make them. It's almost like we sit at Starbucks with our coffee or our tea and look around to see who looks like they need to be saved. Most of us really are desiring to save someone else because we need some healing. We're in a mode where it's so important for us to be the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, the smartest. We want to make more money than him. And a lot of times we end up with men that we have to build over because we're intimidated by the ones with just as much knowledge, just as much money, just as much get up and go. We want that one that we found sitting at our homegirl's house playing on the PlayStation with her lazy dude, and that we have to pull from the muck and the mud so we can go out and tell everybody, look what I did. And then, strangely enough, he may put on a facade for a while, but he never really has changed. He's just learned how to make the best of a good thing. You've supplied the house. He drives your car while you're at work. He's eating off of the groceries you buy. All he has to do is say he went and applied for some jobs, and you're fine with that. He enrolled in a little class. You okay with that? In the meantime, he's busting the streets wide open in your car while you're at work with other females in the passenger seat that they doing whatever they do. They not trying to make him over because they ain't just a movie man. They just want him for going to lunch or dinner on your debit card. Because we go find them. We open a joint bank account. We introduce them to the family. We are all in. Because we're building our bear just the way we want him. And we putting a little stuffing here and a little stuffing there. In the meantime, we've totally demasculated this man. You'd have did better leaving him there playing PlayStation until he realized that he had to work to eat and learn the hard lessons that come from doing nothing all day. And then through his lessons, developing into a man that now does something, than you trying to make him over. Because when you took him to make him over, it's like buying a pet. Now you feed it, you house it, you supply everything it needs. All it has to do is growl a little bit if somebody's at the door. And I'm being very real right now. Because for some reason, this is what we think we should do. The one, we have to get back to, if they're not already a man, we cannot make them a man, and we should not be even considering marrying anything other than a full-grown man. Well, what do you mean, P? He was 30. He didn't have a job or a business? No. He didn't have a house? No. He didn't have a car? No. He only had a PlayStation and some clothes and some jewelry. He sell a little work on the side. Sounds to me like he's a whole teenager. An entire teenager. Just think about it. Teenagers live with their parents, drive their parents' car, and play the PlayStation all day. Sounds like we're confused on what a man is. And the men that are developed into men are too structured. We think they're nerds. We think they're square. We don't think they're cute. Meanwhile, they got it all together. Okay. They got a house, they got a car, they got a bank account, they have a job or two, or a job in a business, or a business or two. They ain't trying to be the next rapper. They're definitely not a drug dealer. And they keep leaving you little notes, bringing you candy, talking to you, and you getting on that phone with your homegirls. This lame. I'll never date him. He could have potentially been your husband. Because the Father is going to send what you need, not what you want. Repeat that. Let me rewind it real quick so you don't have to. He is going to send what you need, not what you want. Because 90% of the time, what we want and think is good for us really is not. It's very superficial and selfish. It's really all about the material and the look. Very rarely does it have anything to do with actual personal growth, becoming one and having balance. It's just not there. And the sad thing about it is, we're not talking about it in the church. We're not talking about it in the conferences. We're not talking about it on social media. We're not talking about it anywhere about what is real about marriage. So ladies, we're not designed to build them over. This is not the mad scientist toolkit. We are not gathering some furry cloth and stuffing in some cotton and putting him on a hat and putting him on a suit, and he's going to then, like Pinocchio, come to life and be a real boy. No. You want a man that you can talk to and he listens. You want a man that will talk back to you. Oh, goodness. We got to listen too. And we listen. A man that can plan with you. Or better yet, know you so well he can plan for you. A man with some drive, whose natural instinct is to take care of it. 3 marriages, 3 men, 3 different personalities. Remember, marriage 1, everything bad about it starts with me. Because there was no love, means of survival. 17 years old, trying to come out of the street life. Needed a rest time. Dude was all in my face. His mama really wanted a daughter. It was convenient for me. That marriage failed. 1, because he wasn't the husband sent by the Father. He was the husband that was sent as distraction. And me, in a broken state, fell for it. Can't be nothing but transparent. Husband number 2 came at a time that I was back in the street. This is what I know. I'm a hustler. And I've come to the realization that I'm not going to be able to deal with a normal man that doesn't hustle, because a man that doesn't hustle is not going to understand my lifestyle, my mindset, the hours I keep, the places I go. Not going to understand all that. So now I marry a hustler. And it seemed all good as long as we were both hustling. Because when you grow up in this lifestyle, some things just become routine for you. And you think, even though it's wrong, it is how life is supposed to go. So remember, I was blessed enough to be a chameleon. I lived in the good and I lived in the bad. And it helped prepare me for right now. So I saw my mother and my stepfather fight. I saw this seemed to be part of life in, I guess, what we would call the husband and wives fought. Wives hit husbands, husbands hit wives, everybody hit the kids. This was not right, but this is what we saw. And what you learn is what you see a lot quicker than what you hear. So I'm in a relationship with someone else who hustles. We fight because, for those of you who read my book already know, I never considered myself a victim. I always considered myself a fighter because my whole life I had to fight something. And so in this situation, if he hit and I hit back and we rolled on the floor and fought or whatever, I didn't think I was being abused. I thought I was having a fight that I just happened to lose because I was smaller. So there was no police call, there was no nothing, right? And so we hustle. And let's be real for a second about the hustler lifestyle. So you don't have whatever your product is in your house with your wife and your children. Hustling men normally have additional households. And normally they make good money, but they ain't really paying the bills in all of the households. They have gone out and they have found some insecure female or another hustling female just not on the level yet to use their house, use their stove, and they're their storage space. And some of them, the female is all about the hustle, so they have to pay. And some of them, they don't have to pay with cash, they can just lay with them. And most women in the game already know this. So we ain't really tripping on who you sleeping with, because as long as you don't come back and try to sleep with me with all your foolishness, it's rules to the game. And so some women are on here saying, yeah, true. And some women are like, what? But I'm being real with you. It's rules to the game, and you already know them. So when you get bent all out of shape because you find out he was at Susie's house, you wasn't keeping it real with yourself or him because you knew this was part of the game. But the other part of the game is normally because of the consequences of the life you live, you try to have a real honest, even though it hurts, relationship. So if asked, what they say, if don't ask, don't tell. But if they ask, then the truth comes out. They tell the truth. Over time, as I begin to grow and understand the voice of Yah and what it was telling me for my life and my path, because that was not my purpose. That was a temporary thing I was going through to bring me here, believe it or not. Because you can't teach on something you've never experienced. And no offense to counselors, therapists, and all of them who learn it from a book. But when you deliver it, it sounds like it came from a book. People need to understand the real. They need to understand the emotion. They need to feel like you understand where they're at. So a lot of the things I went through was to prepare me for when I quit being hard-headed and walked into my purpose. In that relationship, everything seemed okay. Food was on the table. Bills were paid. Everybody looked good. But it was the most unhealthy relationship known to man. We were on different levels of spirituality. We were on different levels educationally. The only thing we had in common was that we hustled. But I thought I was in the perfect relationship because at least he was not asking me no questions. Well, over time, as I grew and had children and began to draw closer to Yahuwah, that wasn't the life for me anymore. But it was still his life. He was not ready for the change. He was not ready to give up the streets. He was not ready to give up the glitz, the glam, the clothes, everybody thinking he was it. Where for me, it was never about that. It was about the quick money. I had grandparents with money. I was never raggedy. I just lacked the love of a mother. I didn't lack material things, so material things don't move for me. I've had them since I was young, but I know what it's like to be perfectly dressed, got a hair out of place, your nails on point, and still feel alone, still feel worthless, still feel empty. So material things don't mean anything to me, but they meant everything to him. So this is where the fork in the road comes in. I'm moving out of the game. He's trying to hold on to it. He's fighting against family prayer. He's fighting against jobs. He's fighting against everything. And it wasn't just a physical fight. It was an emotional, mental fight. It was a spiritual fight. Because the spirits seeking to hold on to him and keep him away were fighting tooth and nail. And so during this time, I was praying and praying and praying because we're taught we shouldn't get divorced. We're taught we should pray our way through. And the whole while, I'm hearing a small voice saying, it is not broken. It is just not for you. See, we ask for things to be fixed that ain't broken. When them shoes get too small and you up to a size 7 and you still got that size 5, I don't care how much you pray over them shoes. Them shoes aren't going to miraculously just jump up to the size of your feet. You've outgrown them, give them away. Same thing with situation. In this situation, I was legally married. I was doing everything a woman should do, plus some. But I also thought I was in Build-A-Bear workshop, and I was going to turn this man who wanted to be a hustler into a business owner. I was going to turn this man who wanted to be a hustler into a minister, a this, a that. I thought I could whip it out and zap it. And guess what that was? That was witchcraft. Manipulation and deception of the mind is witchcraft. You don't have to have a pot or a cauldron or a book of spells or a wand. You don't have to go down the dirt road and buy a potion. The act of attempting to manipulate the mind of someone else is witchcraft. So I had to back all the way back and repent before my father. Hold on, P. This ain't how you gonna do it, because this is not what we do. And the more I tried to hold on, the worse the relationship got. Because what happens is, we wish for these things, we speak these things into existence, we cast that physical, emotional, mind manipulating spell, and then we wonder why we can't get rid of this man that's beating us, that's cheating on us, that's stealing our money. Because we've locked ourselves in. And I had to laugh. Because I know right now, as people looking at this screen saying she done lost her mind, no, the truth will set me free. And so I'm sharing my transparent truths with you. So maybe you can look at your sheet again, add some more little notes, and go somewhere and repent and set yourself free from whatever bondage you have put yourself in, so that you can happily have a husband. So as time went on, we're growing farther apart. But he ain't gonna leave. That's the one thing he's not gonna do. I filed for divorce after some very extreme drama. I filed for divorce while he's incarcerated. He gets out and goes to court to fight the divorce. The judge very politely told him that I could have the divorce. It didn't matter. From the standpoint of just being a husband, I don't know if he even really wanted to do that or just felt like he had been a husband for so long he should. I'm really not sure why he fought. Because we didn't get along. We couldn't communicate. We weren't having sex anymore. We were just two people in the same house with the same keys. And so I knew it was the enemy using him. Because the relationship, not him himself, the relationship was like a ball and chain around my ankle, holding me from going where I needed to go. The relationship that I got myself into, the relationship that I shouldn't have been in the first place, the relationship that was there because when we met, we were both hustlers. He was built like a college football player. All my homegirls thought he was fine. This is a keeper. He get money. He looks good. He's a keeper. He ain't scary. Got a little thug in him. He's a keeper. But he wasn't a keeper. And he hadn't been sent. I was in the wrong place to even be trying to find anything. And he definitely wasn't there to find me. And at that time, I wasn't looking. The one thing I've never done is look for a man. No time for that. I have too much going on just to keep my own life together. But I still was in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing, and thought this joker was for me. We have to accept our own faults. Because we have to find a place to forgive ourselves in order to be open to receive the husband that the Father sent. So I get divorced. Finally divorced. I stay single for 5 complete years. When I say single, I'm not dating, but I'm not perfect. So I'm not dating. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have a roommate. Me and my daughters, we're living on our own. We are living it up. We are doing stuff we never could do before. We are traveling. We are working. We are just getting it all together. We're having family prayer. We're getting closer to the Father. We're studying. We are getting it together. Don't be fooled. I'm not perfect. I was angry. I was depressed. I was lonely. I was having bouts with masturbation because I had been married 20 years. I was used to sex. I even slipped up and had some sex, despite the fact that I was not married. See, so I'm not coming like I'm coming from a perfect place. We're going to keep it real and raw because this 5-year period was not easy. This 5-year period, I had to acknowledge the ugly part of me. I had to face the fact that, for the most part, I stayed married because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to go through the loneliness I experienced as a child. I had never allowed myself to heal from my mother not and my father being incarcerated. So that was the first thing I had to deal with. I had to deal with being alone with me. Second thing I had to deal with, because I had been touched since I was 4 or 5 years old, I had been diagnosed as a nymph. My body naturally craves the touch, the feeling. So now I don't have a husband. I'm in a bad place because my body is still looking for that touch, and it ain't nobody there to touch it. And so then I had to work through throwing away the toys because these are little demonic husbands. I'm never going to get a real husband if I got a husband in my drawer, my closet, my bathroom cabinet, the treasure box, wherever its storage place is. See, for those who didn't know before they joined the workshop that it was going to get kind of transparent and real, if you're offended, I apologize. If you feel a little pinch, then you know what to work on. But I'm always going to be real. So I'm in this place. I'm battling sexual desire. I'm battling loneliness and getting to know the real me, the me that had been hidden for years, hidden through 2 marriages, hidden. My gift inside of me hidden. The treasures of being me hidden. While I wear a mask and go through the facade of being a good wife to 2 men that I didn't really care about. I fed them because that's what a wife does. I washed clothes because that's what a wife does. It was kind of like the robot on the Jetsons. She did what she needed to do because that's what she was programmed to do. Growing up through life, this is what wives did. When you went to church, this is what they told you wives did. When you read the magazine, this is what they told you wives did. And so that is what I did. But in my alone time and in my study time, I realized that there was much more that I had been missing. I had to work on it. I had some obstacles to get over before I would be prepared for the father to send me a husband. I still thought I was supposed to talk crazy to everybody. Husband was a title that didn't mean you didn't catch it. So, how do you submit when you don't know how to? How do you allow someone to protect you when you've protected yourself your whole life? How do you let someone provide for you when you have always been the go-getter? You were going to make it happen. You didn't care what he can do. Didn't matter at all whether you could do it or not. Because I'm going to do whatever I need to do to take care of me and my kids. How does someone come in to that and stand up and lead? Some people say, oh, well, it's like horse breaking. It shouldn't have to be like horse breaking. It should flow smooth. And so during my 5 year of singleness, I learned to be a better me. I learned that being independent didn't mean being a dragon person. Yes, I have whatever I have. Yes, I have businesses in my own name. Yes. 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 I make my own money. Do I have to? No. Can I close my business at any time? Yeah. If I wanted to go full time into ministry right now, my husband would support it. Not a question would be asked. If I wanted to go full time writing books, I could. not a question would be asked. But these are the things that he knew I did before he came to be my husband. He knew I was a business owner. He knew I was an author. He knew I was a minister. He knew that through the years of watching me, I had a horrible attitude and a vicious mouth, which were some of the same attributes that he had. And over the years of us working in the same arena, and sometimes being friends, sometimes not, the Father was teaching both of us how to be a balance to the other. So while you're waiting for a husband that the Most High sends just for you, that is your opportunity to work on your flaws. We'll never be perfect, but we need to be understanding. We need to be able to work well with others. We need to be able to listen and appropriately speak so people will listen to us. We need to know how to manage appropriately what they bring in to the table. We need to know how to be trusted. We've got to quit running our mouth all the time, telling business that is nobody's but you and your husband. As we're going through this process, we're going to cover a few more things. But right now, we're talking about us. Because how are we ready to accept the gift if our hands are full? And right now, a lot of our hands are full with insecurity, with low self-esteem, with trust issues, with childhood trauma. I thank you for tuning in. I am Precious Swain Peaks, overseer of New Visions Ministries Florida, author of He Was There All the Time. I pray that the Most High keeps his hands upon you